Hey, what's going on, everybody? As always, I'd like to thank you all for tuning into the show. Got my crew with me, Darnell and Tyler. I'm Trey, and we're coming your way with the 87th edition of the Don't Kill the Messengers podcast. First thing we're about to get into for this week is some NCAA football. We're about to talk about last week first. Last week was pretty interesting. Didn't really have any major, big-time games that caught the eye, but still had some teams make some splashes last week with some major upsets. We had 4 key upsets in total. Just guys, what were your thoughts on the upsets last week?
I think we can all, just real quick, I think we all can agree Clemson had the worst loss out of all of them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Then Clemson was looking like a well-oiled machine, and then they go to the Dome and got picked off.
Yeah. Kind of opened up the doors for the U a little bit in the ACC, so
opened up the doors for a lot of teams, really.
Yeah, well, true.
Well, and I guess you can't say it totally killed it, but the hopes of the rubber match are sorely hurt now from that loss to a then 500 Syracuse team.
Yeah, what's did you guys see the rankings? Yeah, let me look them up and see.
Yeah,
they dropped to 9, was it?
Okay, well,
7.
7.
Okay.
Clemson went to 7.
7 in the AP, 8 in the coaches.
Okay.
Correct. But surprisingly, Washington saw the biggest fall. At Washington and Washington State, who were both losers, both dropped 7. Actually, Auburn saw the biggest drop, 11 spots, but they picked up their second loss, and you can't pick up a second loss.
Yeah.
And, in fact, to get in the playoff, just based off of what we've seen in recent years, no 2-loss team getting in.
Well, I guess as a side note to your statement, Ty, I guess we could say the state of Washington took the worst loss.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, well,
and top 10 teams took a beating.
Yeah.
I would actually say, as much as I agree there, Washington State took the tougher fall because they had the better wins.
Yeah.
To this point.
Yeah, so Washington, they fell to 18. Washington.
It's just that Washington hadn't played anybody. Rutgers, Montana, Fresno. I mean, that's not exactly a strong schedule.
Yeah. Well, and at least most people's opinion, they weren't playing anybody in this game that they lost to. Arizona State was giving up like 30-some points a game, and then all of a sudden they hold Washington to 7 points.
Yeah. I mean, at least, Washington State had a top 5 USC win, or top 10 at least. But losing to Cal, it's not the fact that they lost to Cal. They got embarrassed by Cal.
Yeah.
37 to 3. So, the state of Washington did not look good on Saturday.
And it was just crazy because it's two offenses that are seen as pretty potent, and they stir anything.
Yeah.
But you get one of these weeks every year.
Yeah, true. Just happened to have been last week. They fell victim to it. So it's just going to be interesting to see how all this is going to play through at the end. With a new poll. When's the poll supposed to come out? The new rankings for the
playoff?
I believe it's after next weekend.
I believe the first playoff show is close to Halloween, if not on Halloween, something like that.
So it's coming right up there. Well, just to get a little away from that, just talk about your guys' teams for a minute. We're about at the midway point of the NCAA football season. Just what are you guys' thoughts on your squads just halfway through the year so far? And what are your projections for them the rest of the year?
it's kind of interesting because I feel like, Darnell, we kind of have two different stories to tell, but very similar situations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess I'll share for Michigan just the fact that they're 5-1. Say what you want, they should be undefeated, whatever. Fact is, the offense isn't even close to looking like anything. Last week, John O'Corn had 58 passing yards against Indiana. Not doing a whole lot with that. The run game looked, but defense gave up a couple big plays to some good receivers, and it has so kind of a very average week for Michigan, but they got the win, which was very, very important. A road win, but so far the offense has been very underwhelming, while the defense has been real stout and looks serious. But in terms of the rest of the way, I'm going to probably crawl into the fetal position at some point this weekend against Penn State. I'll go ahead and say it. First time all year, I'm not picking them.
You going there already, man?
Offense, you can't throw for 58 yards.
That was bad.
The top
that was
3 teams have to practically play a flawless game or get a lot of help. They have to play them. They're on the road this coming weekend, and then toward the end, they're on the road, Wisconsin, home Ohio State. 3 losable games with the way Michigan's looking. This past weekend, they had 16 penalties, so it's not even like they're playing clean. They're playing sloppy football, and it looks bad. It looks like a bad product on the field, but they're somehow 5-1. I mean, projection for the rest of the way, I think they'll squeak out, because Wisconsin doesn't exactly look strong right now. I think they can squeak out a win at Wisconsin. Defense would have to play pretty big, stop that run game. But, if I had to give a season total, 9-3, 8-4, full. Just calling it how it is. So, but, the fortunate thing for Michigan right now, they have the season. Still, they can control their own destiny. They just have to pick it up on offense and get a couple really big wins along the way.
Well, on my side, it's like I said, it's going to be a similar situation, but it's more of a bright spot on our side because it's the bounce back seems to be official. I mean, they're one game away from bowl eligibility, and after 6 weeks after winning 3 games last year. So O'Neal seems to have quieted all the detractors. Trey, and
I'll get that, man. Y'all surprised me this year, man. I thought y'all was gonna have another rough year, but man, y'all turned it around, man. So I can't hate. So
yeah, I mean, of course, work is not done. They still got half a year to play, but they've pretty much done what they should do. That Notre Dame game is a big blemish, but I think some of that can be chalked up to youth and LJ Scott still working out issues that he had with fumbling the football. But for a team that's played 13 true freshmen, a true and redshirt freshman, I should say, I don't see how much more you could expect outside of getting a 5-1. They got to win over the rival, one of the 2 rivals that they played, and schedule isn't too crazy going forward. Play Penn State as well, but at least it's in the East Lansing, so hopefully that helps out a little bit. Have to go to Columbus to play Ohio State, but even last year with a 3-9 team, that game came down to a 2-point conversion. So D'Antonio seems to have a little bit of a secret sauce against them. So, ceiling of probably 9 wins if they can win 4 out of these next 6 and, kind of aim at something like that at Outback or a Citrus Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe pop off and win one of those 2 big games and, get back to a New Year's Eve game or New Year's Day game.
Just for me, I'll just add a couple by my little squads. Alabama, they've been whooping ass. It's not really much to add to it. I do believe they're going to be in the playoffs. Just teams been looking great in the SEC. The teams they've been playing in the SEC, they really haven't been looking stellar.
Tested it all.
Yes. Exactly. So for them, obviously, we have Alabama. They're going to have LSU coming soon. They always just have a good rivalry game. And then Auburn, those would be the 2 teams that's could give them trouble just based on them just being classic rivalry games between the 2. But like I said, I do believe Alabama's going to end up going to the playoff again this year, just how they've been looking and just with the strength of the SEC. The U, on the other hand, I like how they've been playing good. They're ranked number 8, but I still think this team is overrated. Just looking at their schedule, they had a pretty easy schedule so far into this year. Coming up, they do have they're going to have a tough game against Virginia Tech and Notre Dame coming forward. But just looking at the schedule, they had some close games.
Including Saturday.
Yeah, these 2 that really made me question them this year was with Florida State. They did beat them 24-20. But Florida State was missing their top quarterback in Francois. And I believe they should have the game should have been a lot further. They should have dominated that game a little bit more against them. For them to come up in there, they came off a close loss against Florida State last year and coming in there and they're missing their top player, their huge playmaker, game changer for them. They should have really put their feet on their Florida State's throat and just slaughtered them, but it was a close one. And Georgia Tech just barely got away with that one last week, 25-24. So I'm happy to see this team ranked, at that number 8 spot, but I'm really questioning how good this team is. Just how they've been playing. They had like I said, a pretty weak schedule, and I really think Virginia Tech and Notre Dame, those can be 2 teams that can really pull off a W against them, just how they've been playing so far. So I'm still rooting for them to make it to the ACC championship game, but this Miami team, I think they really need to step it up moving forward because they really don't look like they belong in the top 10, honestly.
I kind of feel like Miami is kind of on that same line as Michigan, where really good. They play some crazy nice defense, but the offense leaves something to be desired.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if they even have the running game that Michigan does that if they can write it can win some games for them.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think they do. So So it's good to see, man. But, once they, like I said, play against Virginia Tech and Notre Dame, and if they could beat those teams, once you could possibly go up against a Clemson for the championship, and if they somehow beat Clemson and could, with a major upset or something like that and can go into the playoff, I think this team could really get exposed. So, this Miami team, man, is really, I'm happy for them, but they kind of got me nervous, man. I just think with this whole schedule and just, with injuries, having luck, come their way, they've just been having this type of success so far, but they can easily get exposed.
But to a point, I mean, I guess we see at least at Alabama, but I feel like there is some sort of a formula for every team out there. It's just, granted, you need the perfect storm, like for Syracuse, a game that you think, Syracuse doesn't even have a chance, and just the perfect storm of things happen. Clemson racked up, a few flags, and somehow moves down the field and they're connected. It's just a perfect storm can set anybody up and expose anybody. Yeah. But, like we said, we're looking at Michigan, Miami, even teams that are now basically out of it, Florida State, Louisville, possibly Auburn. It's just, I wonder how much of that is a team either A, kind of getting too big too quick, kind of, I guess, for example, like, you're looking at a Miami team who is only just a handful of seasons away from, those, not to throw shade on Michigan State, but like a Michigan State's 3-9 season. Yeah. Them like 2-3 years ago. And is it like they got all the success now, but it's like the success is coming at the failure of other teams. Like we're seeing a rise in Miami, Florida, I think, because, Florida State's down. Georgia Tech isn't as strong as they've been in years past. Louisville's not looking that good. So it's like it just allows a couple other teams to rise up. If, even if, Michigan State, even if they were saved, and this is just hypothetical, obviously, if Michigan beats them, they're 4-2. They're not as much of a talking point as they are at 5-1. People will talk about them. People talk about them at 5-1, 4-2. You're kind of done with them because we know in this playoff era, if you have one loss, you're still alive. And we'll talk about, you just gotta keep winning, obviously. But it's the fact that I feel a lot of these variety, because once a team gets 2 losses, we kind of throw them to the side until we see a 2-win team get in the playoff or a 2-loss team get in the playoff. As long as you have one loss, you're going to be a big focal point. I think the rankings will show that. If you're in a Power 5 conference, playing decent opponents.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll go to our next subject. Just get our opinions out on this one. But who do you guys think are the top 4 teams right now in NCAA football?
Alabama, number 1.
I think everybody has it. Like, are you saying if we had to do the playoff today, what 4 do we put in?
Yeah.
So, So everybody scratch Alabama. So what are your other 3? I guess it would be.
For me, I would go Georgia 2. They got. Honestly, I would go just because we're not taking, like we said, we're doing it right now. So conference championship games aren't a factor yet, but they have 2 wins over ranked teams.
Yeah.
They beat a 24 ranked Notre Dame and a 17th ranked Mississippi State, who a ton of people thought was a real team. So 2 wins over top 25 teams, and Penn State, just based on the resume, there's nothing really there that's you're looking at going, wow, that's an impressive win. Yeah. A best win might be honestly, best win might be Indiana, Pitt, but I just don't see a lot there. But then I would put Penn State 3, just because eye test has shown a lot for me. Saquon Barkley's the real deal, and I think we all can agree he's probably the Heisman front runner right now. But then my 4th team would be TCU over Oklahoma State, and West Virginia are good, but I don't think their defense is ready to hang. 36 to SMU, 24 to, 24 is not 31 to Oklahoma State. Like, they're winning games by outscoring teams in a marathon. They're not, or more so in a sprint. Like, they're not stopping teams to play that marathon in the trenches kind of a game. So the difference between Penn State and TCU for me is the eye test.
Okay. I can agree with that. Mine's pretty similar. Yeah, I'm going with the consensus poll. I'm actually good with how they're ranked out too. I would go Alabama, Penn State. Yeah, they haven't played but I kind of feel the same way about Georgia playing in the East.
Mm-hmm.
They're running over everybody, just kind of how Penn State is.
Yeah.
So, and seeing as I don't feel the SEC is as good as the Big Ten right now. Halfway, am not sure that they're as good as the Big 12 either.
So you think the Big Ten is the best conference right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say so. I mean, you got Penn State. They're passing the eye test. Ohio State has the blemish from Oklahoma, but they seem to have bounced back pretty well. I want to see them go against another high quality opponent to see if it's real.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least on the scorecards, it looks like they've fixed some things. Their offense is working again. The defense I never thought was terrible. They're looking fast. Wisconsin, the knock with a lot of Big Ten teams, you wish you had a little bit more from the offenses. But I like their tailback, Jonathan Taylor. Nice. Picking up a lot of yards, especially as a freshman. And, rankings, but you do still have Michigan State and Michigan there as well.
They have, I believe they have a bye week this week and get following week, so you don't have to wait too long to see a real test again.
But I would still go with that top four as of right now. Who's in?
Okay, that's fine. Now we was kind of talking about it a little bit, but y'all think Clemson just blew their shot at getting in a playoff, or
no? I mean, you need to realize over teams are going to lose still, and conference championship games kind of the rankings in the end. I mean, face it. If the season ended, you would have Alabama playing Georgia. That's a 1 versus 3. That knocks somebody out. Unless Alabama lost. If Alabama lost, they may slide to 4.
Yeah, they lost an overtime game.
Yeah, they just would pretty much have to not get blown out.
Yeah.
Then you'd have 2 playing 5. That would be for a spot. Loser would be out. You'd have 4 playing
4 versus 9.
4 versus 9. Now, granted, if 4 were to lose that matchup, 4 would be out, but 9 would not be in.
Correct.
Now, and then you're probably looking at. I don't think
depending how everything else works out, it's a possibility because
it's true.
Just like you're saying with everything, it's jumbled with.
That's
3
true.
conferences basically up here. So
yeah.
you have an SEC knockout game, you have a Big Ten knockout game with 2 of these 3 teams.
Mm-hmm.
And the team sitting home, I don't think they're going to jump too much higher unless they were just super impressive. And then you got Clemson and Miami,
7 and 8.
They'll play each other. That'll be a big game. And so I mean, it could shake out where you have these 4 conferences here, and sorry, Pac-12, but you're screwed.
Again. Well, not last year, but for the second time.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're still looking at least 4 top 10 matchups if the season ended today.
Yeah.
So,
I was just about to say, I would still say, a lot of people could, count Clemson out on that from that upset loss, but hey, they're the reigning champs for a reason. This could they could really use that loss to just get focused again and go back to looking good, how they were looking, prior to the loss. So never know how that could.
And luck plays a factor. They lucked up that the Pac-12 has crapped a bed. You had 2 undefeated teams from the same state go down in the same week. 2 very inferior opponents. Clemson did as well, but at least it was a close game. Where both Washington only lost by 7, but they got manhandled by a team that, like I said, was giving up 30, 40, 50 points a game. So I think they got saved in that aspect where they still have some life based on that.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're about to.
USC is. Well, I was going to say, and USC hasn't looked good at all, even in winning.
Yeah, they're kind of pulling that Michigan, Miami route, squeaking wins.
Darnold's
basically crawling to finish lines.
Been looking unimpressive, yeah. But all right, guys. Up next, we're just about to talk about the Eisman and just who are some of your candidates so far into the season that you think could win it.
It's a 2-man race: Saquon Barkley and Bryce Love.
Yeah, I'm not too far off from that. I think Baker Mayfield could still have a shot, but he'd have to basically be holding the turbo button for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
He'll, I think, though the two you mentioned for sure are the 1-2 right now. I think Baker Mayfield gets the invite and probably Mason Rudolph gets an invite.
I can agree with that.
Mainly because I think the Oklahoma offense is basically Baker Mayfield or bust. And then that Oklahoma State offense is let's throw it close to 50 times a game. So it's just guys who get the opportunity to put up the big numbers. And I think it's going to be between Love and Barkley. I think Barkley squeaks it out in the end. Mainly because I think they just get more.
They're in a bigger market.
Yeah, they get more opportunities for those Heisman moments. I mean, you still get a game against Ohio State. You still get a game against Michigan State.
Well,
some ranked teams.
Well, and I think it hurts just because Love is in the Pac-12, which means half of their games start at like 9:00.
Yeah.
So you got to stay up till 2 to watch the whole game. Like I wasn't staying up to watch
10:30. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Stanford, Oregon this past week. Like especially after the first quarter, I was like, I'm not staying up to watch this. This is a garbage ball game. And just Love has been crazy. He's averaging 10 yards a carry. Just listen. It's a first turnaround, and you got a first down. Give it to this guy.
Yeah.
So
I saw
he's been absurd.
Yeah, I saw a mock draft already for next year. It has the Lions taking him.
Hey,
already.
I mean, granted, you need no line, but we haven't exactly had a back that could run. So
yeah, he could be that guy. So, just what about the current guy who's holding the Heisman, Lamar Jackson? You think any shot at him? No, with the losses and okay.
Yeah, I just think too many bad losses there.
Okay. Wrong with that.
Plus, his numbers aren't what they were last year.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Just starting off at the if you would have put the games that he had last year compared to now, his numbers was just completely ridiculous. At the 6-game mark, 7-game mark, or whatever. So, yeah. All right, guys. About to get right into your squad. The University of Michigan. They are playing Penn State this week, Saturday. What are you guys' thoughts on this matchup?
I think just with Michigan, I'm probably painting a worse picture than I'm probably going to get. But if the offense is anything that it's been all season, the final score will probably be something like 27 or 31 to. I mean, it's just honestly Michigan's best offensive player outside of their running back core is their kicker. I think
for that sleepover.
Yeah. Thank goodness for the sleepover. But I honestly think they have credit for the most points on the offense for Michigan this year.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he does.
Let me put it this way. I haven't looked it up, and I'm almost positive it's him. But I think he can do a good job. They just really have to contain Barkley. Can't let him just be explosive on every play. You have to expect that he'll rip a couple big ones, but you just can't let him score. Just Penn State's a full facet offense. They have everything you're looking for. You can't let McSorley kill you on the long ball, although he hasn't been hitting the long ball this year like he had in last year. The Rose Bowl and the Big Ten Championship, it was anytime he threw it up, it was a 60-yard pass. So.
Yeah, I think this one will be a reasonable game early, just because both teams have really good defenses. And not trying to say this to shade them, but most defenses look a little better against Michigan just because they back anybody up. So I think both teams are going to come with the same game plan, just force the quarterbacks to do it. But Penn State has a capable quarterback, and they have two big receivers on the outside. I think both of them are 6'2 plus. So I just think that, along with they're not going to go away from Barkley, they'll find creative ways to give him the ball, screens and wheel routes or whatever need be. Middle of the third quarter, Michigan's defense just starts to get too tired because they're on the field all day.
They were on the field all day in Indiana.
Yeah, exactly. And and Penn State's offense is way more high powered. So I'm kind of respect the defense a little bit, where it's more like a 24-10, under 30, but I don't think the game ever is in doubt on Penn State's side.
Yeah, it could be a situation.
Any shot, man, that you think your boys could pull it off,
I definitely think there's a shot. I just think they need to get creative with the play calling. They're very predictable. You see what's coming a mile away. I went to Indiana, Michigan last weekend. There was
I was going to ask you, man, how good were the seats?
Seats were good. They're on the 45-yard line, about 54 rows up. They were good seats.
Okay.
I was behind the Michigan sideline. Granted, every seat there you can see everything. So it's not a very big stadium. You're real close to the field, basically, no matter where you're sitting. So it was a good stadium, great place to watch a football game. But there was a situation where someone was coming back from concessions, and Tam on the shoulder and said, excuse me, sit down there. And, I kind of stood up, or kind of just moved back a little bit so they had room to worry about that. And I go, hey, don't worry about it. They're just going to run it up the middle anyway. And he just kind of laughed at me, but the play was a handoff to Higdon right up the middle. And it's it's obvious what Michigan's doing on offense because they're trying to protect a bad quarterback. They're trying to get a lead, and then they're expecting the defense to hold it. And Michigan needs to get more creative offensively. One situation that we have not seen, and I wonder if we're waiting to use it, but they have a tight end, Zach Gentry, who's a high school quarterback. Run an end around to him where he throws a pass. Where maybe we see, a 2 quarterback set with Brandon Peters and John O'Corn. Or even where we're, running plays where the line kind of runs like a screen and you run a little flick to the tight end. We're not seeing anything from Michigan that even hints creativity. So if they can get creative in the play calling, keep the defense on their toes, granted O'Corn has to complete some passes. He needs to make some plays with his feet. He'll need to be the best player on the field for Michigan. Is there a shot? Yeah, there's always a shot. But I just don't think it's very likely just based on what we've seen and the fact that nothing has changed.
Do you think some of their issue, I know you can probably call out the type of play that's going to be ran, but do you think some of it is Harbaugh is just trying to get too intricate with his team to show off his offensive knowledge because, like the state game where it's like they ran 40 formations in the first half and it's like, why? You didn't do anything with them.
I don't necessarily know if that is, and it would all fall on him anyway. But, you're looking at, like, just because he's a name most people or some people would recognize, but like they bring in Pep Hamilton as a quarterback consultant or whatever.
Yeah, their pass game coordinator or whatever.
Yeah, whatever the crap he is. And then, you got offensive coordinator. Now, granted, Greg Madison and who's the D-line coach, Don Brown, have that defense on lock. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of the only two names you even hear. But you got like 4 different offensive coaches. And I think it's just a situation where you have too many cooks in the kitchen.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you just have too many voices running around. And like you said, you're running 40 formations because it's almost like you're trying to use everybody's ideas. I'm too much for a coordinated process. His football IQ isn't football IQ's high enough to keep up with this. I mean, granted, and I think that's why we've seen such the conservative game call, is because we know he can't handle it. So what we're doing is we're running, screen passes and just slant routes over the middle and handoffs all the time instead of this trick stuff just because maybe he can't handle it. But one thing I have noticed, and it's been a big difference between Spate and O'Korn, and I guess I could say more so Spate from last year. I don't see O'Korn getting to the line calling a lot of audibles. So I wonder, does he not recognize coverage? Sets Michigan up for bad play, bad routes? Does he not?
Is he given the freedom?
Yeah. Is he given the freedom to do it? Does he know how to do it? Like, these are questions that I don't think we're ever, because you always get the believe in John O'Korn.
Yeah.
Some funny saying or something that Jim Harbaugh has. But, I just don't think, I just am starting to wonder, is it too complicated? Yeah. But they still need to get creative, and they're not even doing it. So
yeah. Now I didn't hear. Did they say like how long Spates was going to be out? They said weeks.
Okay, weeks.
So
whatever that means.
You can be a lot more secretive about it in college. You don't have to. Come out with a huge time frame like that. So they won't give you.
Okay.
They haven't counted him out for the whole year. At least.
If I had a guess, no matter the result, as long as Michigan loses close or blowout, and I guess this would be my prediction, as long as it's a loss for Michigan, we see Brandon Peterson start the next week. John O'Korn will be done. I just don't think and I think they want to do it. I just don't think they want to send a freshman quarterback for his first start to get beat up at Penn State. That would be a terrible way to bring in a freshman quarterback.
Yeah.
It would not be smart. Yeah. And I wonder if Jim Harbaugh is just waiting for next week to pull the trigger on Brandon Peters or Christian McCaffrey. I don't think he could put Christian McCaffrey out of the equation, third on the depth chart now. So
well, not Christian, but
Dylan McCaffrey.
Yes, I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Christian. You're right.
Christian's in Carolina.
Yeah,
he's actually.
Hey, if he wants to come play, if he wants to come play quarterback for us, he can. But it's Dylan McCaffrey. Yeah, my fault. So if it's, it could be Peters or McCaffrey. And I think as long as it's a loss, at that point, and title game will be out of the question. Playoff will be out of the question. And I said, do what Michigan State did and put your future in there. Yeah. And I think playing Lewerke last year was the best thing Michigan State could have done.
Yeah.
Even though he got hurt, I still think it was the best thing they could have done.
Well, in the game he got hurt, you could see he was the best quarterback on our side.
Yeah.
He would have finished the year as the starter if he didn't get hurt, because it would have been that same situation. The season is pretty much done, so let the young fella go. But yeah, I agree. Penn State probably wouldn't be a good idea, or else you might get like a gun shy quarterback, like how what's his face that transferred to Western, Shane Morris.
Oh, he went to Central.
Central, yeah. Sorry. So yeah, you don't want that.
No, and it's kind of, you could get a very similar quarterback to John O'Corn so far if you start a freshman at Penn State. That would be, I just feel like it would be too big of a stage. Goes out there and succeeds, that would be one heck of a story. But I think it would just be a lot smarter, get through this Penn State game, play hard, and then you get a freshman quarterback against Rutgers. Way better game to throw a freshman quarterback in. You're at home. That'd be put a first-time starter in. Even though Rutgers picked up the win last week.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Is there anything else you would like to add for NCAA football before we move on?
Say your prayers for Saturday night.
All right. Oh, boy. All right. Up next, we're about to get into some NFL. The first thing we're about to talk about is Adrian Peterson. Recently got a new home up in Arizona last week, and he made his debut. He played pretty great. This guy's, what do you thought about his debut, and you think he can keep it going?
He came out with some pep in the step. I mean, I gotta give him props. I did not see that coming. I mean, time and time people tell you AP is like the worst person to try to bet against since he's like a cyborg. Yeah. But he does play running back. He played great. I gotta give him his props there. Pretty much got the amount of rushing yards he's had all year and got his first 2 TDs. Yeah. Great game. I'm gonna have to see it a couple more times before I say, yep, AP is back. He is all day again. But a good game, feel good story for him. I'm happy for him that he had that game. But I mean, if he can play somewhat to that level, that's a piece that the Cardinals needed after losing David Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Now, Darnell, I think we need to at least give ourselves some credit here. Yes, we said we didn't think he would be a fit, and let's just go ahead and say we were partially wrong. Because he can't catch out of the backfield. That's still very true. He did not catch a pass. He did not catch a pass, but he ran better between the tackles than I think anybody saw coming. I mean, 26 carries for 134, 2 scores, averaged 5 yards a carry, just over 5 yards. But I think what helped him was the fact that Palmer was slinging it. I mean, Palmer threw for almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. You
don't have the box clouded. That helps.
Yep, they really opened up the game, and that opened it up for Adrian Peterson. But I also think that that's very scary because now Adrian Peterson has the confidence again. And I think that's what's more scary than the fact that he ran for 134 yards, is now he has confidence. And as anyone can take you a long way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you guys. I'm a huge fan of Adrian Peterson. I really want to see him break that Emmitt Smith record, man. So, to see that debut, I always say, Adrian Peterson is a beast. And just one thing about being a beast, you're just not going to go down easily. So he went to Arizona and he stepped his game up and had a great game. Like I said, I'm rooting for the guy, but we just got to keep in mind this was just one game. We need to see how those hits and everything is going to add up on him throughout the season. If he could finish just like he started last week in Arizona. So, like I said, still plenty of football to see out of Adrian Peterson. It was good to see that game, but there's still a lot for us to see if he still has it. So now, just looking at this Arizona team, they're 3-3 right now. Do you think this was a good piece for them to possibly for them to turn it around this year? Because you possibly see them being a huge threat with the addition of AP.
I mean, if they restructure the offense and play like this, and and Carson Palmer shows that he hasn't fallen off a cliff like he seemed to look in this game, I mean that could definitely make them a threat because their defense is still solid. It's just their offense was Larry Fitzgerald and not much else. So
true.
Yeah. I mean, where you're looking at some positives for Arizona is they still have 4 games against the Seahawks and the Rams, which that division's a 3-horse race.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they have, in essence, complete control of that division as long as they division games. But you kind of look at the rest of their schedule and it's not exactly a cakewalk. You'll have to play the Titans, who are a solid football team. Mariota's only going to get healthier, hopefully, from here on out. Redskins have shown they can, play some real stingy defense. Kirk Cousins looks solid as usual. The Jaguars are looking really impressive. Now granted, I think they've already played a few of their tougher games. The Lions, the Cowboys, the Eagles. They still have, another game with San Francisco. So, anytime you can add a running back with the pedigree of Adrian Peterson, it's a great add. But he has to keep it up. If he can't keep it up and they become one-dimensional, then they're going to be looking for some trouble.
Yeah. Okay, up next, we're about to talk about Colin Kaepernick. It was just Sunday, I believe it was, football day, where this news came out that he got together with a lawyer and he's going to be suing the NFL for collusion. Just what are you guys' thoughts on that, and how successful do you think that lawsuit could be?
Unless they have something already, which, I guess that would make sense that it took this to this point for him to file suit. But outside of that, this is going to be a very tough case to win because, you have to prove that 2 or more owners got together and said, we're not going to hire him.
Yeah.
I know pretty much most sane people that have any knowledge of this issue knows that it's because of his stance.
Yeah.
It's hard to prove that because the owners can say other things. You're not a fit for our team, just as simply as that, or the offense, or it's BS, but we don't think you play well enough to be on our team. Whatever.
Yeah.
You can say what you want for why you didn't sign him, even though you can watch the quarterbacks that have been on the field this year. Some of the starters and backups that have played terribly, Colin Kaepernick would be better than these guys. But if you don't have some kind of paper trail or witness saying, yes, owner A and owner B basically said, I don't think anybody should sign him. Yeah, I agree. If you don't have some paper trail or witness account of this, I don't know how he wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely agree. Which kind of makes me wonder why he's going ahead and filing the grievance. Because if he has something, that could be huge news just in general. At that point, you're kind of taking down the NFL. on a legal level. But like, if he doesn't have anything, he's just kind of wasting his time, kind of embarrassing himself, and all at the same time cementing himself to probably not have a job in the NFL again.
I think that's pretty much him tapping out, saying, "I guess I'm not playing anymore."
Yeah, this feels like a last ditch effort. Like if you're suing basically every owner in the NFL, no one will want to bring you on after that. Now, granted, like you said, Darnell, any owner can basically, give the spiel of, like you said, not a fit. We're going in a different direction, and so on. And the problem for Kaepernick is those are everyday reasons why you don't sign free agents, why you don't sign players off the practice squad. Like, those are legitimate excuses, or legitimate reasons for not bringing on C. But it just so happens that Colin Kaepernick also has a political stance in his corner that is hindering him as well. And the owners can point to all the on the field stuff that they want and, for lack of a better term, get away with it. So I just view this as a last ditch effort for Colin Kaepernick, and get it. His future's looking very bleak.
Yeah, I basically agree with everything that you guys just said. Do I feel as if the owners, in a way, decided not to sign Kaepernick because of his political stance and whatnot? Absolutely. But I just believe it's going to be hard for him to get a lawyer and just prove that that's absolutely true, because they could just, like Darnell said, they could just say anything. You don't fit with our system. We don't think you're good enough, and so forth. So, it's going to be, I'm rooting for him. I hope he can somehow prove it, but just with the, just with the whole, how the court system and everything like that could work, and just what the NFL owners can say, I just think it's going to be really hard for him to prove it. So, I do believe, this is basically the last ditch effort. After suing the league, I really don't believe anybody else will try to pick him up after this. So, I'm rooting for him, but it's going to be hard. All right, guys. Anything else to say for that?
Nope. Good luck, Cap.
Yeah. Up next, we're about to talk about Aaron Rodgers and get a little bit how that is going to affect the Lions this year too. But we'll talk about his injury. Just thoughts on his injury, man. Stephen A. say he's a bad man, and the bad man just went down. So just thoughts on his injury, and how do you think that'll affect the division?
Well, I mean, most likely the Packers are done. They don't really have a good defense, and I feel like their receivers are greatly made by his ability to find people in traffic and basically create out of nothing. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just going to be tough sledding for Green Bay. The season is probably done for. I know there's been some people trying to say like this was a dirty hit. I don't agree with that. He was out of the pocket. He was a runner. It was, if you watch it in full speed, it wasn't like the guy was not already going for a tackle when he let go of the ball. So, but I mean, it's just stuff happens. He got wrapped up. It was a form tackle. It wasn't like the guy like laid a helmet into his collarbone or anything. But you hate to see it happen, especially to one of the league. But yeah, I mean, sucks for Packers fans. I can't say I'm totally mad about it, seeing as I'm from Michigan, so our team here makes things a little easier for them to get the division. So
just logic tells you, even seeing the highlight over again, seeing it in slow motion, logic just tells you this is just a football injury. Guy rolls up on you, and basically when a 300 or a 270-pound defensive lineman's just putting dead weight on top of you. It's not probably going to turn out too good for you. So, that injury hurts. It hurts a really good offense. It hurts a team that contends for an NFC championship more years than not. But as a Lions fan, you cannot help but kind of tie the boots a little bit tighter and really think you have a shot at this division. Unless Brett Hundley's Aaron Rodgers 2.0, and I don't think anybody's out there saying that he is. Yeah. It should be. Granted, Minnesota has a shot. Don't misunderstand me here. It's really between Minnesota and Detroit. I think Detroit is the best quarterback in the NFC North now. You could probably argue. Yeah, I think there's the argument that the Lions are the best defense in the NFC North as well. It's just the fact that, Golden Tate's hurt right now. Are they going to be able to fill that void? Are they going to be able to win some games that, are basically 50-50 games like this past weekend against the Saints? That's a game you need to win if you want to be competing in the NFC. But they let that one slip on. Granted, on the road in New Orleans, I've said it before, that's a really tough place to win. It's a struggling Steelers team. Roethlisberger isn't playing well. Bell's starting to play well. Brown's starting to get it going, and therefore Roethlisberger's just been on a struggle train this year. But then they see the Packers, Browns, Bears, Vikings, Ravens, Bucks, Bears, Bengals. Those are all winnable games. Like, those should all be games the Lions are favored in. Like, they get the Vikings at home. They already beat them on the road, which is a great win. I think the schedule just favors Detroit. I will be disappointed if they don't win the North. Granted, I'm a little disappointed they've lost a few games that they have, but Lions fans pretty good right now. Yeah. Granted, there's worse places to be if you're Detroit than 3-3.
Yeah. Darnell, how do you are you pretty confident that Detroit's going to win the division? With this
Am I confident? No. I just Lions and confidence. There's two words. No.
That's true. True.
Just being honest here.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, and I'll agree. I'm not going to sit here and say, without a doubt, they'll win in the North.
Okay.
Minnesota can very easily win this division as well.
But should they? Am I expecting that they do it based on this injury and the rest of the division? Yes, they should win this division. Yeah. If they don't win this division, I don't know what to say about them. You got the highest paid quarterback in the league. He's been playing pretty well. But no Golden Tate's hurt. I believe we had an injury in the secondary too in that game, didn't we?
I can't remember, but it sounds.
I believe so.
I just don't remember.
But I think they should still have enough to be able to beat a team starting a rookie quarterback and a team that is on his second and now their third quarterback is finally back to practice in Teddy Bridgewater. Who knows if he sees the field or what, but I just feel like the Lions should win this. I know the Vikings are probably still a hump to get over, but I mean, just the red carpet is there. Just walk down it and get there. But like you said, do I have confidence in it? No. The Lions always have to prove something to me just because they've fumbled at the one so many times per se.
Yeah. And, I say it in college football more than I say with the pros, but you got to get a little help. And this is a big help for the Lions. If you're trying to pull off the upset, you need some help. You need the team who's favored to make a couple mistakes. Now, granted, this isn't a mistake you can control. Definitely a situation that kind of propels the Lions forward, and they better take advantage of it.
Guys, just anything else to add on the Lions, just on their season so far? Just any further thoughts on them?
Nope.
Nah, just do what you're expected to do.
Yeah, just win, baby.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, anything else for NFL before we move on?
Nope.
Okay. Well, up next, we're about to get into some NBA. Before you got into joined us, Ty, before we started off, I was telling Darnell, I was like, man, Kyrie Irving's probably like, damn, man, I should have stayed my ass in Cleveland. Just how it is. But about to get right into Gordon Hayward's. What were you about to say?
Yeah, it's a close game now, so maybe he's doing all right.
Yeah. But, I was just about to say, we're about to get right into Gordon Hayward's injury, how this affects the Celtics. Just like to wish him a speedy recovery, man, because the dude's a good basketball player. He really came out and showed the world what he was about last year. Had a spectacular season. And, man, just 6 minutes into the season, breaks his leg. So, that sucks because that guy's just such a joy to watch play. And, this could really, hurt the Celtics, right now. Could possibly have them, slide a few spots, back in the, Eastern Conference. So, still got a lot of games ahead of them. But, just guys, what are your thoughts on this, Gordon Hayward injury? And how do you think it affects the Celtics?
Well, I mean, it ends any shot of them making it to the NBA Finals, and most likely the conference finals, honestly.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
You would give it to, Washington probably then?
Yeah, that's probably where I would start leaning, to go and play Cleveland in the conference finals. Yeah, I think you have to have two scorers that you can depend on at all time, and with no Hayward there, as good as Kyrie is, we spoke on it when the trade happened. When Kyrie was primary option in Cleveland, like I know he didn't have all the talent, but you could say he did have Kevin Love there with him.
Yeah.
For a season before LeBron came, and they still couldn't even sniff the playoffs. So,
yeah, really,
I hope.
Yeah, he wanted that, to be the number one guy. He's really going to be the number one guy now. So
he's going to be the only guy.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, Jaylen Brown's got 20 points tonight.
Well, and they're going to need
in 31 minutes.
Well, yeah. Somebody else is going to have to step up. So, hopefully that can continue for them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you lose a big pop there, losing, no pun intended with pop, but, you're losing a big factor there for Hayward that,
you're losing a lot
in those close games. Yeah. So I do think they'll still make the playoffs just because this East is not very good. So I do still think they make it, but
I'm not going to count them out of the Eastern Conference Finals yet. Only reason is because it's game one. It's not like we know his effectiveness this season. It's not like we know, they were going to run a specific offense that really featured him in these key ways, and they won big games because he was hitting clutch shots after clutch shots. Game one, this team's still finding their identity. And I still think they could find a really nice groove. They could slide in as a top couple seed, get a nice path, they can still possibly avoid Washington. Or avoid Cleveland,
Don't forget about the Raptors too. Now,
I mean, but I guess my point is, these teams that we're talking about having a solid chance at the Eastern Conference Finals, they can still avoid them. And like we said, we really liked what Jaylen Brown was bringing late in the season for the Celtics, and like I said, he's got 20 tonight. He's leading scorer for him. We don't know what Jason Tatum's actually going to be. So I still think there's still a lot of pieces we need to actually see come to fruition before they're in or they're out. Yeah. So I'm not going to count them out yet. I'll give them really till the on the leash, but I'll give them till see where they're at the All-Star break before I really determine whether I think they're in or out. Like you can tell what a team is by then.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think, man, that's just a huge blow for him. It's, Kyrie Irving is really going to have to do a lot for the team. But, you brought up some guys stepping up tonight. Always, kind of worry a little bit about that because it's just the first game. But, that could be a good way for those guys to start getting some momentum going and, work on that chemistry and continue to improve further on. But just looking at it, man, John Wall and Bradley, if they can get to click, they could really cause some problems now, possibly get the second spot. And then, like I just said, the Raptors, too. You don't want to sleep on Lowry and DeRozan. So Kyrie, man, he's, like I just said, he wanted to be the top guy. He's really got it now. So he's going to have to duke it out, possibly every night to make sure that these guys are still in the game and can still be in position to possibly make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So, but anything else on that, guys? No. Okay. Just to since we're starting to the season, we got some rookies that's going to be making some splashes this year. Who are you guys candidate for possible rookie of the year?
I'm going to go with the guy that should have been a rookie last year. I'm going to roll with Ben Simmons.
Yeah, just based on all the reports, they're going to use him pretty heavily.
Yeah.
So I don't disagree. I like Ben Simmons for that. He just seems like he's a freak in nature, though, doesn't he? What is he, 6'8", running some point, getting down low. Just a lot of things to like. I just hope he can continue to stay healthy. Just that kind of seems to be a problem, at least with players in Philly. But I like him. I like him for Rookie of the Year. He'd probably be my early season favorite with Ball for number 2.
You said Ball?
Yeah, Lonzo.
Okay.
I like him.
Yeah, he's had, a decent summer league and everything, man. They had some reports out there saying that he's going to be a good fit for the Lakers. Others saying that they don't think he's going to fit well. So, his pops hyped him up, man. I'm going to be excited to see what he could bring to the table this year. So, he could definitely help the Lakers out a lot and possibly help bring some free agents over there next year if he and the Lakers could step it up and improve upon last year. So, anybody else, guys?
Yeah, not for me. I'm throwing my eggs in that one basket.
All right. Yeah. I think mine will fall into.
Yeah, I know you guys were saying Ben Simmons. I agree with him, but what about Fultz? Y'all think another rookie he's going to be playing with him? Y'all have any faith in him or?
Not for Rookie of the Year. I think he can still have a solid year. Might be in the discussion, but especially if you have Simmons kind of stealing the show there, he'll be shadowed.
Yeah.
Okay. Respect that. And up next, we're just going to talk about possible MVP candidates. who are some guys that you guys think will either get the MVP or be in discussion?
Yeah, LeBron.
Of course.
KD will be there this year, especially after
I'm going to put Kyrie in there too, man, because right now he's going to have to step his game up for the Celtics. So if he can get them possible top 4 spot in the Eastern Conference, which I think he could do, and just have a great season, I think he could be in the MVP discussion for this year, because he's really going to have to step his game up now, I believe, to have that team really be in Eastern Conference discussion with Hayward out.
Yeah. Do you guys think we see Russell Westbrook in it again, or do you think there's, I guess to reference a term I mentioned earlier, too many cooks in the kitchen over there?
Yeah.
No, I think his numbers go down some.
Yeah, they have to. Don't they?
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys, any chance he contends for that triple double record? I mean,
No.
he's gonna pass the rock a lot, but with Paul George and Carmelo, you think any shot at all or what?
I doubt it. I feel like he doesn't have to be on the court as much now. Like he can breather every now and then because there's 2 other scorers. Because that was the issue last year. If he went off the court, like him and LeBron had the same effect on their teams. If one of them got off the court, their team was terrible. So I think with at least having George and Melo there to, still have a primary scoring option when Russ isn't on the court. So I don't think we see him averaging anywhere near a triple double this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he'll average a double.
Oh yeah, he could definitely go.
Yeah. I think definitely points and assists. I still wouldn't be shocked if we see him at 6 to 8 boards a game.
Yeah, I'd say around 6.
I think that's more like his normal average there. So
So I still think, but do you think at the end of the season he's in that conversation for MVP?
Westbrook?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Doubt it as well. Darnell and I doubt it.
Oh, y'all doubt it? I just think Westbrook's just a beast, man. That guy can literally just step up whenever. It's going to be harder with him, with Paul George and Melo, of course, but that guy could just take over and change the game just whenever. So I think there's a possibility he could. I just think that guy's just too athletic and too skilled to not possibly be in there. Another guy too that I will have is Blake Griffin. If what he could do over there with the Clippers, just because if he had to stay healthy, that's for sure. Won't have to be getting in fights with members on the staff and stuff. But if he can, because he has DeAndre Jordan on the team, he's not really known for offense or anything like that. So Blake, is really going to be a squad. He's really going to put a lot of points on the board for the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another guy.
Did you mention Kawhi?
No, I was about to say him too. Yeah.
I mean,
that's my dog, the silent assassin, man.
He's dealing with a quad injury right now, but I mean, if he showed a bit more of a scorer streak last year, and I think if that comes back and he can get the Spurs up to one of those top 3 spots in the West, I think he'll have a lot to say as far as MVP.
Yeah. What about another guy? He was overlooked a little bit last year with Russell's triple doubles, but what about James Harden?
Oh yeah, but I feel like down there it'll be interesting to see how the ball handling situation comes out. Like, are we going to see Chris Paul, his usual 9 to 12 assists a game plus, or is, Harden going to than she got last year. I think it'll just be interesting to see how that pans out, but I think the points will still be there for him.
Oh, definitely.
For sure. And I still think he'll rack up a lot of triple doubles. Here's one. Who gets more triple doubles this season, Harden or Westbrook? I'm going to go Harden.
I think I would agree.
Yeah, I would go Harden too. Yeah.
And I think based off of that alone, the fact that we're all picking Harden there would put him in the MVP discussion.
Yeah. I do. That Houston Rockets team, I just found them interesting with, of course, CP3 and Harden. I just really want to see how much that backcourt improved from last year, because last year, they didn't have, CP3 on the team, but they were already one of the best backcourts in the league. When you had Eric Gordon going off the bench, you had Patrick Beverly helping James Harden's historic season last year. So they were already a pretty good team with the backcourt. So it's just going to be, how much does this team improve, and was that really something they needed to focus on this year to possibly dethrone Golden State? So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Guys, what about Lonzo Ball in the MVP discussion? So far, I think he's going to get 50 wins for the Lakers this year. So, any shot at him?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Entertaining.
Yeah. Well, anybody else from the MVP discussion, guys? You think we've just about covered it?
If he is on the trend that he was going through last year, I think you got to at least give the Greek Freak and outside shot.
Yeah.
And man, oh my goodness, man! Especially with Middleton, he's going to be healthy this year, and they got to get Parker back. Probably late November, late December, or whatever. Those guys are going to only help him get better on the court. So, yeah, he's definitely due for another great season.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anybody else, guys?
Nope.
I think that was a good list.
Yeah. All right, then, guys. As always, I appreciate you guys for tuning into the show. You can find this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher.
Oh, Shrek.
Oh, yeah.
No pick'ems?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm getting ready to close and then the pick'ems. Yeah, good job.
I guess we got to get a new host.
Yeah.
That's right. Pick'ems for the NCAA. We have Tyler, he's 23 for 41. Darnell's 22 for 41. And I'm 27 for 41. And NFL, I'm 13 for 32. Tyler's 15 for 32. And Darnell's 18 for 32. So, first game we're about to get into, we're about to start off with some NFL. First game we're about to get right into is New Orleans versus Green Bay. Who you guys got?
Saints.
Oh.
You going Saints too, Ty?
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
No Rodgers, Green Bay I don't expect much.
Yeah.
Brett, scare me.
Yeah, give me Nola too, man. What about Arizona versus the Rams?
This one should be fun. Yeah.
I'm going with the Rams.
Yeah, give me Arizona.
Give me Arizona as well. And we have Denver versus Chargers.
Give me Denver. I think they'll bounce back from a bad loss last week.
Yeah, well, it's Broncos too.
Yes, same here. All right, then we got the Super Bowl rematch, Atlanta versus New England. Who you guys got?
This one's a toss-up for me. Give me Atlanta.
And I feel like Atlanta's been struggling, but for most people that pick me up, it's been New England's defense. So I'm gonna go with them too, even though it's in Foxborough.
Yeah. Give me New England, man. I'm not going to go against Brady this week. So, yeah, I feel the same way. Atlanta's been looking kind of iffy and a little inconsistent so far this year. So, even though New England's defense does suck. So, give me New England. And we have Tampa Bay versus Buffalo.
Give me Tampa Bay. Buffalo just doesn't have enough. I lost Charles Clay. That's enough for me. I would take Tampa Bay whether Winston's in or not. This one.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go Buffalo. I'm still wondering on that how Winston's shoulder's gonna look.
Yeah,
and I do like Buffalo.
Okay. This was a tough one for me, but give me the home squad. I rock with Buffalo. All right. And up next, we're about to get right into some NCAA football for our pick'ems. We have started off Memphis versus Houston.
I've picked Memphis a few times before, and it's paid off. Give me Memphis.
All right.
Yeah, I think a couple times.
Who are you going with, Darnell? Memphis. Okay. And this was a tough one, man, because, Memphis, they been stepping up a little bit this year, but you never count Houston's offense out. Give me Houston. Oregon versus UCLA.
Give me Oregon.
All right.
I know UCLA's defense is not Stanford's, but I just don't think Oregon is good right now. So I'm going to go UCLA.
It's not that good right now. Yeah, I don't think either team's that good.
Yeah.
I at least trust UCLA's quarterback, though.
That's fair.
Give me Oregon, man. I think Oregon's going to look like the old Oregon this week. So. Louisville versus Florida State. Who you guys got?
Yeah. Oh.
I'll start it off. I'll take Louisville. I'll just rock with Jackson. So I think he'll be a game changer for me.
Louisville.
Yeah, I'll go with Louisville.
All right. Then we got the third Saturday of October rivalry between Alabama and Tennessee. Anybody got Tennessee for the upset?
100 points on this one. I was wondering, why did this one make the list?
It's a rivalry, man. Anything can happen. Anybody want to take Tennessee?
Are we wagering if Jones is fired for the game or not? Like, what?
Hey, anything can happen, man. But hey, I guess yeah. Up next, we got USC versus Notre Dame.
I don't like them, but I'm taking Irish.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'll take Notre Dame as well.
Okay. This is tough. I could definitely see Dame pulling this off, man. It's just Darnold's just been, yeah. So, but I'm gonna roll with USC, man. I think USC is gonna find a way to pull it off. And last but not least, we have Michigan versus Penn State. You don't want to roll with your boys, huh?
I can't this week. Not. My record's a little more important. At least I'll be able to hang my head on my record at the end of the season.
Yeah, I take the Lions here. No question about it.
Yeah, same here. Nothing needs to be said. I think they're going to give Michigan that work. So, all right, guys, just make sure now. Any other, final statements, anything before we close this out? Making sure I didn't skip over anything.
We actually finished the show, so yeah.
But all right, guys, as always, I appreciate you all for tuning into the show. You can find this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, SoundCloud. Just hit us up in that search engine. Also, feel free to look us up on Twitter at DKM_cast. And we'll catch y'all next week on the next episode. Peace.